you remember 1999, the new year, Y2K, entering in the new millennium, or millennium.
Okay.
I don't know.
Enough.
Anyway, do you remember when people were like just losing their minds, like people's brains were short-circuiting because they thought computers were going to just destroy the world, the nuclear codes were going to cause rockets to launch? And
Can I answer?
Yeah.
Vaguely. Just because of my dad. But there wasn't a lot of people that I knew that had home computers at that time. My dad had one, and I remember him saying that we needed to like unplug the computer and unplug turn off like the surge protector and everything, because he thought that it could like explode the computer or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
People thought it was going to launch missiles and that it was going to cause the stock market to crash and just all computers not work and then electricity to stop and yo-yos to stop spinning because they were popular at that point in time.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. Glitch out your Pokemon game. Your Pokemon saves glitched out. Just everything. Everything's glitched out.
Did you have a computer?
At
that
no,
point?
I mean, like, where my parents were separated,
Mm-hmm.
My dad and my stepmom had a
They
computer,
did.
but my mom would get computers, but there was always just, like, I remember having, like, floppy disk computers and stuff in, like, 1997, 98.
Yeah, we had, like, that ugly, blocky, off-white Microsoft computer that weighed, like, 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barely word process, you know, like
it was so bad.
WordPad or any of that stuff. Like, it was bad. But there was a huge fear that something was going to happen, whether it was going to be the rapture, the apocalypse. Y2K was just the end of times.
And looking back.
We are in the Matrix. Look, oh my God. So yeah, internet historian, of course, has to highlight this situation and give us some insight and maybe some stuff that we're not even aware of.
There's a lot, I'm sure, that I don't. I was young, you know.
Yeah, I was 10.
I was 7.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. 6. No. 7. How old was I?
I don't know. Anyway, let's see what internet
There's
historian...
no way that I was 6 years old and I remember that. And I had a computer when I was 6 years old. Maybe it was like 6.5. That feels really wrong. Anyway.
Y2K, the whole scenario felt so wrong.
Let me tell you how the world ended. December 31st, 1999. Y2K.
I went streaking that New Year's.
Just how bad will it get?
At 10 years old?
Yeah, I did.
Y2K, the movie.
To my knowledge, I'm the last survivor. Planes fell from the sky. Expensive Pentium 2s ceased to function. Nuclear launches all around the globe. Let me tell you about the downfall of mankind. Scene transition. It all started in the 80s. The synth was wavy. The computers were absolute units. But the memory was embarrassingly small. So at the time, computer programmers were trying to save every byte they could. When they programmed in years, the date 1995, for example, became just 2 digits. 95. Good solution at the time. But as the years went by, people went, hold on a minute, what will happen at the year 00? And the answer was, across millions of potential systems, no one really knew. They had a problem, and they called it Y2K. But let's take a step back. What does Y2K mean?
Well, Y is short for year, 2 of course means 2, and K is the scientific symbol for thousand.
Mono means 1, and rail means rail.
So the year 00 was coming up. For computers, that could mean 2000, or it could mean 1900, or it could be a nil value. Now apply that same principle to something more important like banking transactions, international scheduled airline departure, or the internal clocks of GPS satellites. And now you see the problem. Systems would start to fail.
The systems will fail, and if one part of it fails, none of it works.
So traffic lights, power systems, water systems, military networks, microwaves, advanced
Help.
AI.
Oh,
The
I
entire
remember. My
internet.
dad saying something about the
It would
microwaves
all
too.
potentially domino
Or
into
up.
chaos. Yeah.
It is
I
a
think that we
particularly
turned
large
off.
global disaster in the making.
Or unplugged our
Scene
microwave.
transition. So companies got together to spin their way out of the problem. The United States alone invested an estimated $134 billion to fix the
Billion.
bug. But they had an immovable deadline, and only so much could be done leading up to January 1st. And hitherto, only a fraction of the problem was fixed. Legislators could see the writing on the wall, so the Y2K Act was passed, which protected companies against lawsuits resulting from the bug. But, as the media reported on the problem in louder and more hysterical terms,
They're preparing for martial law.
I think Y2K financially could be devastating for this nation.
Airplanes, they'll tell you everything's fine. They're lying to you. Everything ain't fine.
The Y2K problem could abolish all paper currency and coins throughout the world.
a secondary problem arose: panic. Here's an example. You spend millions of dollars getting your city's water system up to Y2K compliance. Everything's looking good. But the media is feeding people hype. So a nervous population does what it often does. No, fill the bathtub full of water. Just in case, for obvious reasons. Well, also what tends to happen is everybody has that idea at once, at the last minute. You can imagine what that does to a big city. It kills supply. Then people think there's no water, Y2K is on for sure, and panic explodes in the streets. Boy, there was potential here for real disaster. So it was up to citizens like us to take matters into our own hands. Welcome to the Y2K Expo. Everything you need to survive the apocalypse. We bought survival bunkers.
They think I'm mad. Mostly. But then they want a place in the bunker.
We bought seeds. We bought a library of literature. We bought into pretty much everything.
Call now and get the ultimate Y2K survival kit from becalm.com.
But Y2K
Becalm.com.
just kept creeping closer.
Actual
And
footage.
soon, it was time to say goodbye to loved ones. It was time to say goodbye to the world as we knew it. From my bunker, I could hear the bombs go off. The destruction. Just unimaginable. Let me just set the mood real quick. Nope.
Simpsons wave.
Close.
Touching strangers at Taco Bell.
It's all gone now. The small things that went unappreciated. The great moments of our time. There is no going back.
Crash Team Racing.
The date today is somewhere around 2018.
Oh my gosh.
It's finally time to step back into the world. With whatever horrors that may bring. I don't know what I'll find out there. Mutants, cannibals, different factions of bandit. I just hope I'm ready to take it all on.
Me after the year 2020.
Yeah.
Get it? He steps out, and then it's the cabin from season.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Wait,
such a
is it
deep
seriously?
and
Yeah.
encompassing lore. Remember when I used to make good content? Me neither. Scene transition. Okay, I was only
Wait.
partially right. about
From the-
Doomsday
I know.
thing.
Yeah.
The world didn't end. But in Australia, some of the vending machines stopped working, and the International Weather website displayed the wrong year. Also this. So that must have been annoying to fix.
In hindsight, that's pretty funny. Actually, to be honest, at the time I thought it was pretty funny. I worked in the airline industry for years as an avionics engineer. I knew that no planes were going to fall out of the sky.
$500 billion well spent.
So basically that entire time I was like, how old was I? But I was almost 7. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. What a time.
Like in the back of my mind, I'm like, did we fill up the bathtub too? I remember filling up the bathtub, but that was whenever we got a terrible snow in like 2009.
Yeah.
And we were like, maybe the pipes will like freeze and we won't have any access to water.
Yeah.
We did get snowed in at the house for 2 weeks, so
right.
I mean, it makes sense that we did that. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure we unplugged the microwave, and I know that we unplugged our Microsoft computer.
I was thinking the whole time, how many years have these same people been like, they're going to impose martial law?
Right?
It's like Y2K. And then whenever something bad really does happen, then it's like, that ain't nothing. What about Y2K and the microchips from Satan?
Oh my
God!
gosh.
It's just like,
yeah.
So when there's not a looming disaster, there is, and when there is a looming disaster,
that bad.
That's just what they're using to distract you with. Like fucking what?
Nothing makes sense.
When does it actually go? You know, the way that everybody's kind of agreeing on. Can we just say that like we fucking breathe air? Can we all agree on that, or is it? It's just synthesized vibrations through the waves of your lungs receptors. And just like, what is it with these fucking people? I guarantee you if that guy is not dead, you can find a video of him claiming, this is a hoax, it's all... There's no way he's not doing that if he's still alive. If he hasn't went and tried to suck the virus from somebody's butthole to contract it already to prove it's not real.
You are on one today.
It just blows my mind because I continue to see stuff and it's just like, I can't wait for these nut jobs to actually huff enough of their own rear ends to believe that like their stuff is true, and then they're going to be making videos about the green unicorns flying through the sky that everybody can't see.
They're already on that one show. I don't remember the name of it. That show, I think it's on Discovery, where they're like, this is my bunker, rate my bunker.
Oh, yeah, where it's like the...
Survival...
the Doomsday Preppers. That's the name of the show. Yeah.
The last one that we watched, they were terribly fit for the show. Like, they had some good stuff, better than what we would be off, you know?
Yeah.
And then they got rated like a 91, and they were like, no, ain't it. That ain't it.
Well, I think these so-called experts need to learn a little bit more about how you store peanut butter.
No, the lady literally had like really bad diabetes and needed insulin, and she only had like 4 months or something. And they were like, no, you're literally going to die.
You can boil a certain amount of insulin out of lima beans.
Just shoot the sugar straight up. It'll work.
Well, hell, I rail it out through my nose as often as I can just to keep my blood cell
I wasn't
count.
sure where you're going with that.
My glycerin levels. Yeah, they're crazy. And there's a lot of that. But it just boggles my mind at the lengths to which these people... It's like the people who are in like the punk scene or in like the rap scene or whatever be like, no, I'm underground. No. Like I'm on the end of this scene. It's like they can't, the craziness that regular people deal with isn't enough. It has to be like, oh, you believe in aliens too? Yeah, cool. Oh, we're all on even ground there. Yeah, but what about the lizard people? It's just like, God, does it always have to be something else?
Yes.
No.
For them, yes.
It doesn't. And then it always somehow leaks into like hatred of a certain ethnicity too, which I just don't understand. Like,
I'm not sure always, but
no,
there's
you get to the
those.
fringes of almost every conspiracy theory out there, and they start bringing up like a certain ethnic group. And it seems to be the same one, which I just don't want to say here and put it on blast, like trigger some kind of flagged thing. But there's a certain ethnic group that almost every single conspiracy theory, once you go down the rabbit hole far enough, they'll start blaming them for it. And it's just like, why? Haven't we already been over this, people? Like,
if you haven't noticed, I'm pulling my rock eyebrow out for this one.
Dude, I'm telling you. It is for every single conspiracy theory I've ever took a deep dive on. They somehow start pointing the finger, and I'm like, leave these people alone, damn it. Fucking, they don't have to have something to do with everything in your stupid little gimmicks. But Y2K was another one that it's whenever they put a date on it that they're always screwed. Like the Doomsday prophet preachers, and then the Mayan calendar, and then whenever it's like, well, here it comes, and we're all just like,
yeah.
You
well,
know?
like 6.5-year-old me is like, what the fuck? I mean, my dad's the smartest man in the world. I mean, this shit's literally gonna blow up in our house.
And people with the intellectual capacity of you as a 6-year-old, there are many adults like that. And many of them vote. And many of them make decisions for everybody else. And many of them have a voice now to go on social media and go, don't let them put them chips in your kids. Hit the mark of the beast.
Well, but back then, the internet was not like it is today. And whenever you do hear something like that, usually it would have been like on the radio or on the news, which seemed credible back then. So you're like, well, I don't know jack shit about computers.
It didn't seem credible back then. In fact, people talked all the time about how like you can't trust politicians, you can't trust lawyers, don't listen to or don't believe everything you hear on the news. That's been a saying forever. Yeah. But now that is believe everything on the news or whatever that fits your narrative.
Yeah.
But everything else is wrong.
Anyway, back then, as a kid, it felt different, you know?
Oh, yeah. There was some kind of credibility to the talking heads, it seemed.
So whenever I clicked on a TV and they're like, your computer might blow up in your house, so you're like, oh, shit. Now you hear crazy conspiracy theories every single day.
All the time.
So, yeah. What happened with you all? Like, do you remember this happening?
Oh, I'm sure some of you do.
What crazy things did your parents do?
Or
did you do?
Relatives, friends, family, people in your neighborhood. Tell us all about it. I really like this time in history. Aside from the crazy nonsense, like the raging satanic panic that people want to pretend didn't happen in the 90s that did. It continued from like the 60s all the way up through the early 2000s, and people tried to sweep that under the rug. But anyway, stories about that, stories about stuff that got banned in your school during the 90s and the early 2000s. Like, I love that stuff. So please share that with us down in the comments. Any suggestions for videos that you want us to react to in the future, that would be really cool too. If you like this video, you could give it a like, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing more of these reactions for sure. Check out the internet historian, give him as much love as you possibly can because he is the man. I think that's going to do it for this video. Yeah. We good with this one?
This one's good.
Y2K's over?
Yeah.
Cool. See you guys next time.